Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Geekorama, the podcast by geeks for geeks. We are produced by superherofiction.com, the one-stop shop for all your superhero novel needs, and for the month of December, host to the 2020 Superhero Cover Contest. Head on over, vote for your favorites. We are your hosts.
I'm Jeremy Flagg, author of the Children of Notre Dame's universe.
And I am Trish Heinrich, author of the Vigilante superhero universe. And what are we talking about today, Remy?
This week, we are actually going to be talking about our predictions for the upcoming year. No one wants to listen to a wrap-up show for the end of the year talking about all the awesomeness that happened during 2020. So we decided, let's put it behind us and let's look to the future. And with all the announcements that have been coming out in the last 2 weeks, it is kind of perfect. So
yeah,
we're going to be talking about some of our predictions for 2021 related to Marvel, Disney, Star Wars,
Warner Brothers, CW, Netflix.
Because you're dead to me.
Netflix is kind of dead to everybody who was a fan of a show that got canceled. You can have a moment of silence for all the shows that got canceled.
I feel like if we did a moment of silence, it could just be a scrolling list of the shows that...
We could have a death reel for all the Netflix canceled shows.
Oh, we need some soft music in a video montage.
I know, exactly.
Netflix.
And because this show is so jam-packed, we are actually skipping our usual format. We're not doing pop culture trivia. We're not doing geek outs. We need all the time to talk about this because there's a lot. So, Jeremy, what do you want to start with? What block?
So, I'm going to suggest, this is going to sound weird coming from me. Let's start with Star Wars.
Oh, wow, that is weird.
You have more to say on this one than I do because I am not the Star Wars fan here. So I already, before the show even started, I had to ask a whole lot of questions. So recently, Disney made a whole lot of announcements.
Mm-hmm.
And when this show comes out, it'll be about 2 weeks ago. And there was a day of Marvel announcements when you were like, oh my God, there's not enough TV viewing time for all of this. And then they were like, but wait, there's more. And they released all of the Star Wars stuff. And the best part to it was last episode, remember me saying, I think that the Osaka thing was a backdoor pilot.
And it was.
I hope so. And I sent her the message being like, told you so.
And then I found out about some of the other projects, and I was like, I don't know whether to pee or scream or both. Oh my God.
So there's going to be spoilers all over the place because I'm going to talk about Mandalorian. And basically, Rosario Dawson shows up in The Mandalorian, which was the best thing since sliced bread. We now have Baby Yoda's real name, but will only be called Baby Yoda from here on out, no matter what. Her, Trish's daughter.
Yes.
The child. But wow.
There was a lot.
Before we even get into the shows, I got a question for you though. Why? Why do you think this has happened? We haven't seen a streaming network dump this kind of attention on so many shows ever. The closest I could probably say would be the CW with the Arrowverse having essentially 5 nights of Arrowverse shows. But this is a lot of TV time.
It is.
Why do you think why?
They did this to us. I think we all hope that with the positive reports of the COVID vaccines that, we'll all get our vaccines and we'll all be going to summer blockbusters. No, we won't. we're going to be lucky for kids to go back to school, physical school in the fall next year is how I kind of feel. And I mean, I'm readying myself for that. And it's very realistic. People have not had fresh content since probably April. Nancy Drew ended on the CW very abruptly. Roswell was a truncated season anyway, so it technically finished, but you had a ton of shows that never finished their seasons. You had, all this hit kind of right before the summer blockbuster season started in May, and so you had all these delayed releases. People have gone through, I've seen so many people talk about how they are watching, this show for the fourth time, and I just started this year, and because there's no fresh content. And I think that Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars, well, I'm just going to say Disney because they're all like under the same evil empire umbrella anyway. They're acting like smart business people, to be honest with you. And they're like, there's a need right now, and there's going to continue to be a need. And so they are basically planning on people needing fresh content to view from home for the next year. And it's a really smart bet. And these are things that fans have been clamoring for. People have been clamoring for Ahsoka live action shows. They've been clamoring for Obi-Wan. They've been clamoring for a Rogue Squadron movie. The Bad Batch, they're fan favorites. I don't particularly care for them, but all of these things are things that fans have wanted. And I feel like whether or not they were in the planning stages of it, they have moved everything up in timetables because they're like, we need to cash in on this.
Do you think that 2020 has effectively killed movie theaters?
I hope not, but I think it is going to completely change the landscape of how movies are released. I think what's probably going to happen is the movie theaters that survive are going to turn into boutique events. It was expensive to go out before. Now I think it's going to be a special kind of night. And I don't think that it's going to be blockbusters being released in theaters anymore. I think it's going to be you pay extra to view it from home, and then, if you want, maybe it'll be released in the theaters at the same price or a slightly less price. I don't think theaters are ever going to be what they were before COVID. And I've seen a lot of friends say that they're not comfortable going to the theater, and they will not be comfortable going to a theater for years. And that's another thing, is that you have a population now that is terrified to be in enclosed spaces with a lot of people, and that's what a movie theater is. So I just think that it's not ever going to be the same. And when it comes back, it really is going to be a boutique experience.
The last time I was at a movie theater, a really stoned guy showed up and offered me fried chicken.
Oh my God.
That is basically the movie experience in a nutshell.
Yeah. And I love going to the movies. I love it. It's like a religious experience for me, seriously. But I think we need to really take a hard look at the fact that movie releases are going to be very, very different. And I think that Mulan was a test case for Disney.
Yeah.
And everybody watched that test case. And I think that's one of the factors in Warner Brothers' decision to release pretty much everything online.
Well, and Disney made a really bad move with, I feel, charging as much as they did. Mathematically, per viewer in a 4-person household, you were saving money instead of going out to the movie theater.
Yeah.
But I go to the movie theaters on my own sometimes. I'm not paying $30 to watch my own house. And I think because of that, people saw the reaction to that. If you have 2 kids and you're there with your spouse, like, your family is the perfect family to watch a $30 Mulan at home.
Yeah.
It's still half the price than going to the theater. But for all those single people or pairs, that's an expensive ticket out.
It is.
And I think that was something that Warner Brothers was like, ooh, we saw your backlash.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to plan accordingly.
But there's some there are some deep issues. Honestly, it isn't any big surprise to me personally, but Warner Brothers really is shooting themselves in the proverbial ass, because they had this streaming platform for DC, and they not only did they not do anything with it, but they are stripping it and putting everything on HBO Max. And I do not understand that decision, because you have the opportunity to basically do what Disney is doing. And because the word has come out that Disney Plus is probably going to do a tiered pricing structure. So you will get certain kinds of content per what kind of tier. And while, again, I think it's a mercenary as hell decision, it's a very smart business decision. Now, DC's streaming app had the opportunity to do something similar if they had used it wisely, but they're not. So they're releasing it on HBO Max. The problem with HBO Max's app is that they're in a legal battle with Amazon and Roku TV, which are two of the biggest streaming aggregates for something like an HBO Max app, and you can't get it there. So you have all this great content that the vast majority of people are not going to be able to see because you are in a legal battle with these two big aggregators. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out for them.
The problem with what DC is doing right now is DC has the CW, which, let's be honest, as far as a channel-owned thing, there's only a dozen or so shows that would get pulled off the CW to go on to its own app. And I actually think it's really smart that they're doing away with the DC app, because by having the DC app, it would be like Disney only having the Disney Vault app.
Depends on how they used it, though.
What's that?
It depends on how they used it. They could have used it. My point is, they could have dumped everything on there and used it like Disney is using their streaming service.
But I think it's smarter for them to brand it their parent corporation than the branch, because it would be like having a Marvel app.
Oh, you mean like a Warner Brothers app?
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does make sense. No, I agree.
And I think that's essentially what HBO is going to become. It's going to become the Warner Brothers.
Probably.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What I don't like about it is, again, in all this kerfluffle of shifting stuff, people bought the DC app because they had some shows that they liked. Well, now some of it's available there, and some of it's now on HBO Max.
And if you're like us, we're like, well, the year subscription actually is a bargain, so we're going to do that. Now we're stuck with the subscription to an app, and half the stuff that we bought it for is not there anymore. And we can't access HBO Max on our Roku TV or Amazon Prime. So what the fuck do we do?
Well, I completely understand the business move to skip theaters and go straight to streaming, and I'm kind of for it.
Yeah, me too.
I think movie theaters will get a lot of second run movie theaters.
Yes, and drive-ins. I think we're going to come back.
Man, bring back drive-ins. Those were awesome. Yeah. And I love going. I have a small Strand style theater in my town, and seriously, the best thing I've ever seen there was Pitch Perfect 2, because the crowd sang along.
Oh my God.
It was like I was in the largest sorority house, and I didn't know the words to the songs.
If it's not Rocky Horror, Pitch Perfect movies are the perfect sing-alongs. Honestly, they're so much fun.
So that's kind of where I think 2021, we're not going to see movie theaters be a thing anymore, which is a little bit sad, because that was my Friday night. Like, what do you do? You want to go see? There's nothing really good out. Well, let's go see the next Sharknado, or
you could go to the second run ones, or a lot of the theaters, at least the ones that I went to in Seattle, that had it was like a dinner and a movie kind of a thing. Yep. That might actually work better, because you have to separate people into like booths and stuff. So you could have 2-seater booths or 4-seater booths. Sorry.
I mean, you could.
You could. But I guess my point is, it would probably work better to socially distance in a theater like that had that set up, but it's also going to be a hell of a lot more expensive.
Well, and
So
we have a thing called Chunkies here, which everyone goes to Chunkies, except it's one long style table. So you're almost like at a cafeteria table with these
jeez.
awesome high back chairs that you eat, you pivot, and there's your movie. So it's like you're at this massive family dinner with this gigantic screen. So they could modify it and make it work.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more expensive, and the food's nothing great. I mean, you get like chicken fingers and fries.
Yeah.
I go out to a normal theater and I get junior mince and an icy. I'm not there for the fine cuisine.
I know. The only place that it was kind of upscale was they have a champagne bar theater in Seattle. It's tiny, tiny. It's called The Big Picture. And you can place drink orders to arrive halfway through the movie. And they will come and take it's this, but it's a boutique experience. The tickets are expensive. The concessions are expensive. I mean, you know what you're getting. And I think those type of setups will survive. I'm not sure about the big AMCs.
We have a premiere. I think it's a Regal, but it's a Regal premiere. And so it's in the town that I work in, and your ticket is like $20.
Yeah.
But it's 21 plus only.
Nice.
Boom. Half my annoyance is gone. I don't mind going with kids, but I'm at a late night movie and I just want to drink and watch my mom movie.
Yep.
So, and I'll go watch it again during the day with young people, and it's a whole different experience. It's a different thing. But the problem.
I'm going to come back around to that.
What's that?
I'm going to come back around to that. Keep going.
The problem with it is they serve booze, and so it's unlimited popcorn, unlimited soft drinks, but then you have money on booze. So you're like, I'm just going to tank up while I'm here. The problem is it's in the town I work in, and who brings me my drinks but my students.
That's a buzz killer.
Mr. Flagg's quite the lush.
You gotta slip him a 10. I swear you to silence.
Please don't put this on your Instagram.
I think you hit on something though that I'm actually mourning. I'm in anticipation of movie theaters no longer being a thing, and that is the collective experience, the collective shared experience of sitting in a movie theater with a group of strangers and watching a movie for the first time. And whether that movie touches you emotionally, or means something, or it's just a lot of, blasting things out of the sky fun, that experience is something that we're going to lose. And I'm really, really sad about it.
So I was going to University of Maine, Farmington. It was 1999, and I'm pretty sure the movie was The Matrix. I saw it a lot. And I remember we had what was called the Railroad Movie Theater, and you bring your own drinks, you bring your own beer, whatever.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was in a college town. Like, you could smoke a fatty in the front of the place and no one's going to question it. But I remember we would go on Friday nights because there's nothing to do. And a lot of the times there would be like campus movie night where every student got a free ticket and you could just go in. And I remember the trailer for X-Men. And I remember when it faded to black, people stood up and cheered. I still remember that moment. This childhood dream of mine, it was the trailer.
Yeah.
Not even the good trailer, the short trailer. It was the first time we had seen it on big screens because we had all downloaded illegally. Mm-hmm. And we cheered. And I just remember that moment of, oh, these are my people.
Yeah.
A bunch of people I don't need to talk to, which is perfect.
Yeah, if you're an introvert especially, the movie theater experience is great because you can all cheer together and then you don't have to have a conversation if you don't want to.
What I do foresee in 2021, people are going to be buying bigger TVs very quickly. Bigger
TVs, and I think where the collective experience, we will probably create our own collective experiences. I mean, I was thinking about this when you're talking about $30 for Mulan, and how as a single person, or even as like if people are in a couple, that's expensive. But I think where we might see a rebalancing of that is there's a movie you really want to see, your friends really want to see it. Okay, who's got the biggest TV? Everybody chips in some money to pay for the $30. They bring snacks, and in that way, I think we do have a collective community movie viewing experience, but it's going to be very different than the movie
saw, and I didn't know that it had this. I just discovered this like 2 days ago. Hulu, if you're watching it on your laptop, you can watch it with people now.
Oh, they have a watch party thing. That's cool.
But it's built into Hulu now, whereas before I had to use some weird third party, never really worked thing. Because there's definitely shows like Stargate. My mom wants to start watching Stargate, and I was like, you know what? Sure. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch Stargate together, and every 30 seconds, my mom's gonna go, "What's that? What are they doing? Why are they doing that? Who is that?
What's that ship doing?"
And so it's just, Mom, that's Amanda tapping. She does no wrong. And so I think we're going to get some of that in the fact that, and it's going to be certain types of shows, not like blockbuster movies. Because if you talked during Endgame, I swear to God, the dude with the fried chicken, I cursed him out so loudly that people stopped and turned around, but he was so high he didn't realize I was cursing him out. I did all fried chicken.
I think you're right about that. And I also think that those kind of watch party capabilities, I think we're going to see Amazon Prime, Netflix, YouTube TV. I think we're going to see these streaming places really up their game where that's concerned, because people are going to start having a demand for it. I really feel that COVID has completely changed what we are comfortable with as a society in terms of how we are going to go out and socialize. It has changed everything for the foreseeable future at the very least, and forever probably.
Well, and even like thinking about some of the stuff, like we could have watched the Russian superhero movie together. We
could have.
I'm pretty sure that your husband would have paused it to call me and yell at me, but it would have been a whole different experience if there had been a group of people talking trash during it.
Yeah, it would have been way more fun.
And as everyone's yelling at me, and I'm like, it's still good.
It wasn't.
But I think that's actually, so right now, Mandalorian comes out on Fridays. And it's my one show that I watch on the day it comes out, because by noon it's already been spoiled, which for me doesn't matter. I don't know what's going on. But throughout half the show, I'm texting a friend of mine who's a Star Wars fan. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why do we care about this? Who is this? What is this a reference? And so it would just be, he's probably happy that I'm not watching it with him, but we frequently will pause a movie and be like, okay, let's talk about where we are now.
Yeah.
So I think that will be fun. And I think with some of these shows that are coming out, I think that is going to be kind of a cool experience again, too. Because people do it already. They live tweet their show. They live update on Facebook. If you're the one doing that, I'm coming for you, by the way.
I also feel like once we do start getting a vaccine, I do think the thing that will start happening is people in the bubble, the social bubbles that they have been comfortable with during COVID and are comfortable with as the vaccine comes out, they're going to start having like in-person watch parties.
It'll turn into dinner parties, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, we have two friends that they work from home. We work from home. Like, we literally don't see other people at this point. And we have Friday nights with them because we trust them, because our bubble is just that fucking small right now. But we're also very careful. Like one of them got the sniffles and he's like, I'm going to quarantine for a week. And we're like, okay, cool. So we're super careful about it. But what's been happening is it's Todd. For those of you that listen, he's our announcer for our commercials. Todd and his wife will come over. Todd and Dan will watch The Mandalorian, and Rochelle and I will drink in the other room. It's not because I don't want to watch The Mandalorian. I do. I like it. But this is kind of like their thing, and Rochelle just really doesn't like Star Wars. So we'll drink and cross stage. We're just drinking bitch in the other room while they have their Mandalorian time. And it's really kind of fun. Like I don't know. It's just the way that we're being forced to change how we interact with friends. It's going to be really interesting to see how it falls out this time next year.
So let's talk Star Wars.
Let's do it.
Since we're already talking Mandalorian. So
season 3 has been confirmed for 2021.
Which really is what we care about. Oh, by the way, on the newest episode, I got some questions.
Go for it.
Pascal takes his helmet off.
Oh, that was a big deal.
Which is a really big deal for the character, the show, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Uh-huh.
Why could the face reader that had to read his face recognize his face into a secure computer system? So
that is a plot hole that I was like, that's a rather big plot hole for this show. And I think I have no answer for it whatsoever. They were talking, so I think it has something to do with the scanner they were talking about towards the beginning of the episode, which is the reason why he had to go in. And it's kind of like a genetic scanner. So they have to genetically scan you to make sure that you're basically not on the Empire's naughty list. And he's not on any list because nobody ever seen his fucking face. So it kind of worked out. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It's not facial recognition. It's genetic recognition. And it's only trying to match it against this naughty list.
I feel that they need to have a chat with their IT people.
The Empire is nothing if not cheap.
Yeah, I will say they left a hole in the Death Star.
Yeah, well, and also I love the moment when Pedro Pascal is like shooting the terrorists. I don't even know what they are. They're like, actually, I don't want to call indigenous people fighting for the rights to live on their land terrorists, so we're just going to call them the indigenous people. He's shooting the indigenous people off of like the very flammable freighter he's on, and he runs out of laser bolts, and he just kind of looks at it like, you got to be kidding me. And Dan and I start laughing, and Dan's like, man, shitty Imperial gear, man. Well, it's the truth.
And last time we had our talk about body armor that is just there for show.
It is, because Boba Fett fucking beat the shit. That was like the best fight scene. Oh my God.
So the best one for me out of all of them, and we'll go through a bunch of them.
Okay.
And I'm going to say it wrong because I say it wrong every time. The Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
See, every time.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm looking forward to this. One, Rosario Dawson is a big deal in my world. I just love her. And I hope that it maintains the level of martial arts that was shown in that episode.
Agreed.
Because if she turned, like, the Mandalorian goes around and he gunslings. He's a gunslinger. It's a Western. I want hers to be a more martial arts focused, kind of like the first season of Daredevil, where those were some amazingly well choreographed fight scenes.
Agreed. Yeah.
The character can have whatever arc she wants as long as I get a little bit of badass lightsabering here and there. I'm good.
Which I think you will. And I think we're probably they planted the seed of Thrawn being the big bad for this. Now it is a mini series. It's a one and done season. Which is fine with me. I would rather have a tight, compact, compelling one season than 5 seasons of fluff, to be honest. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Thrawn. Thrawn is a bit of a big deal in the expanded universe. He was really, really fascinating in Star Wars Rebels. Just very curious to see what they're going to do.
The other one that I would put on my maybe list, again, for those who don't know, I'm not really a Star Wars fan. So Where is Jean-Luc Picard in all of this? I am intrigued by the Lando series, and my reason for this is because Donald Glover as Lando, he was that suave motherfucker that you thought he should be.
Yeah, he was. Honestly, we should have had a Lando film instead of a Han Solo film and I'm a huge Han Solo fan, people, so please do not shit on this, like, on me. I'm not trying to crap on it, but honestly, that was one of the worst Star Wars films I've ever seen. And it was only saved by Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. So if they're going to do a Lando show, it better fucking be Donald Glover, because you can't have anybody else.
And again, I didn't mind Solo because I'm not a fan. I could enjoy it for just what it was. There was a giant Wookiee. Really, what more do I care about?
Well, and I'm not crapping on the cast. I thought the cast was fine. The story was sucked balls. That's all I gotta say.
So I am kind of hoping that the problem with some of these shows is because we already have an established timeline, they're getting pinched into either prequels or sequels that's what I'm concerned with, especially if it's going to be something long term. Like Mandalorian is actually in a good time slot because there is a gap. But Han Solo, if you're going to go from Solo to the next movie, like
well, and the thing that they kind of have going for them is that when, and I know you're not going to understand any of this, but there was 20 years of expanded universe novels before they got to these last 3 Star Wars films with Rey and everybody else, and Kylo Ren. There was about 20 years of expanded universe novels that they threw out completely. And there's a part of me that's glad, because the continuity got so fucking convoluted. It was unbelievable. But they threw out some really amazing characters and amazing character arcs that fans have been pissed off about ever since. Mara Jade, yes, Mara fucking Jade, people. But what it does give them is it gives them freedom to play, because they don't have a crowded EU anymore. They're creating an all new one. So I think that's actually going to benefit them in the end.
The other one that I will admit, and again, if you notice a trend, the ones I'm excited for have little to do with Star Wars and more to do with actors. The other one is going to be Obi-Wan, and that's because they're bringing back Ian McGregor, who, random fun fact, went to the same high school as my boyfriend.
Oh my God! I think it's Ewan McGregor. I think it's not Ian. It's Ewan. I misread it. We'll have to change it. I'm excited about that, and I also have to give a huge shout out to Hayden Christensen for having the massive Darth Vader balls to step back into a franchise that crucified him for decades.
Did you see the poster for him as Vader?
No. Oh, I didn't see it. Is it? I'll have to look it up.
There is a poster of him as Vader that is every bit as evil and menacing as you want him to be.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. Those films were not his fault. I am not a fan of the prequels. Honestly, I think George Lucas should never, ever sit at any kind of typewriter or computer ever again, unless it's to write an outline and then hand it off to somebody else to write. George, just stop. We all are concerned. Stop.
George R.R. Martin, and Stephen King should all get together and make a movie.
And it would be the most convoluted, talky, drawn out, blah, ever.
And it would get to the end, and just as the big reveal, it would end. You would never find out.
Ever. But I think Hayden Christensen actually can act. I mean, we have proof of this from other films. Natalie Portman can act. So to say that he was terrible, it's not his fault. Like, nobody in that movie was good. Nobody in those movies were good, people. Nobody. Not even Ewan McGregor, and I fucking love him. But he was also very stilted. So I'm excited to see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen as Anakin/Darth Vader when they're not under George Lucas's thumb. That's what I'm super excited about.
And I'm curious if they are going to pick up where the movie's left off, or they're going to use the gap in between.
That's what nobody's really sure. It's supposed to be Old Man Obi-Wan on Tatooine, but I'm just thinking, how many episodes can you have where he's like staring creepily at Luke as he grows up? Like, I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
And considering how little Luke knew, like,
yeah.
Mom, who's the creepy guy who's sitting over there that never actually comes over and talks to me?
Yeah.
Nobody. Just ignore him.
I am kind of strapping in for some epic fights between Uncle, whatever his name was. I always want to call him Uncle Ben, and I know that's not his name. Uncle Owen. Uncle Owen and Obi-Wan. Like, I want to see some really epic, like, blowout fights between the two of them about just.
Did you ever watch the web series Droids?
No, because I know I'm going to get hate for this, but I just don't think droids are that interesting.
So it's called Droids, and it's it is cops, stormtroopers, and they've been called on a domestic disturbance call at Uncle Owen's house.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, it is.
Now I gotta see it. Now I gotta watch.
So old school. It's so funny.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And if it's not if it's not Old Man, which it kind of has to be, because
it kind of has to be. Yeah.
Please stop de-aging people.
Well, it's good in like short bursts of flashbacks, but if you're gonna make a whole episode with it, just stop yourself right there and recast.
I just watched Gemini Man, which is Will Smith as a 53-year-old man playing a 23-year-old self.
Yeah,
it was rough.
Yeah, no, that should not be.
Battle Angel Alita was more lifelike than Will Smith in that.
Ouch! Yeah. Ouch! Damn.
So those are the ones I'm excited about, but there's a couple others that I know nothing about.
So Andor is one that I'm pretty curious about. I didn't know they were going to be doing this. This is about Cassian Andor from Rogue One. I love Rogue One. I know a lot of Star Wars fans are very contentious about that film in particular, but I fucking loved it. And I bawled my eyes out. I bawled my eyes out at the end of that movie every time. Doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. I bawled my eyes out, but I talked a lot about balls today, but it feels right. I love the balls on the, or ovaries, if it was a woman, on the writer and director for that movie, because they basically were like, this is a war film and people don't survive in a war film, so everybody's gonna die.
It's one war film.
It's one war film. Yeah.
We know there's no sequel, so there's only one way this will end. You knew it from the opening credits.
Exactly. And so we're getting a prequel miniseries about Cassian Andor. And I'm pretty excited about that, actually. But I do have some bittersweet feelings because I love that character. And like the whole miniseries, all I'm going to be thinking is, you're going to die soon. And I'm going to be sad.
My only problem with that is as far as a character archetype, him and Han Solo are kind of the same person.
Well, Han Solo is way more mercenary. He's way more self-involved. Cassian Andor is pro-rebellion. He is a soldier. He's a mercenary within the rebellion, and his mercenary tendencies are all about the rebellion. They're all about anti-empire things, whereas Han Solo's just like, if it doesn't benefit me, then you all can screw yourselves.
Okay.
So that's the difference there. There is a certain similar swagger. There's a certain similar, like, mysterious bad boy component.
But in any universe, you're gonna have overlapping archetypes. So but the motivation does make a huge difference.
It does, and I feel like they are very different because of that. Trying to find other stuff that I'm excited about. I know there's a Bad Batch series coming out, but honestly, the Bad Batch were kind of fun in Clone Wars, but I'm meh about that one.
it almost kind of makes me think that they went trolling on Twitter hashtags to see what had the most hashtags, and they were like, ooh, Bad Batch got the most hashtags. Click production.
Which actually is kind of a smart way to do it because, you've
Yeah.
got a built-in fan base. But it's a neat idea. Honestly, the idea of the Bad Batch of clones was a great idea to pop into Clone Wars. It spiced it up a little bit because you have these clones that are just like completely coloring outside the lines. They don't even see the lines. And that was because for the most part, the clones are very by the book, the rules, the chain of command, and these guys did not give two flying fucks about the chain of command. And it was fun, but an entire show around them, I think, would get kind of exhausting.
The one that I am probably least interested in is Rogue Squadron. For me, just space battle for sake of space battle is just not something I particularly am interested in. So it would have to have some pretty compelling characters, and it might. So that could turn me around, but it was kind of like Mandalorian season 1. I really wasn't interested. It was, I like this particular character. Okay, I'll tough it out the Western concept. So if there's some good characters, I'll tough out the space battle.
I'm gonna see, and I was not interested in Rogue Squadron. I mean, I know they're kind of a big deal in the expanded universe, but I was like, nah, whatever. Until I heard that Patty Jenkins got the directing gig, and now I'm all in. And some people might think that's tokenist of me, but I don't really give a shit. Because here's the thing. She's the first woman to ever be given the directorial chair for a Star Wars film. It's going to be 2021, and she is the first woman, finally. And it's a dogfighting in space movie. And I love it. I love that they gave it to her. Patty Jenkins is talented as all hell. And that's what's exciting me to see it. I want to see the Rogue Squadron movie she makes.
Well, and I mean, I think that's fine. Some of these I'm only watching because I like the particular actors.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I understand why I'm like suddenly interested in it because I really couldn't care before I heard about Patty Jenkins.
I do find it funny that she hopped comic book universes.
I do too. But hey, if somebody gave me a Star Wars film, fuck yeah.
It's kind of like she went over to Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy dude went over to DC.
Yeah, I know.
I kind of wonder if this is like comic book version of wife swapping.
We will have to see.
Like, I mean, and I really liked Wonder Woman for a lot of director level decisions that were made.
Yeah, agreed.
So, okay. And again, this one's a movie. It's not a series. If it was a series, I would probably just say no.
Yeah.
But
that does make a difference. Absolutely.
2-hour event, easier than lots of 40-minute events.
I'm going to guess that they are going to get pretty top brass casting for this, to be honest. I'm anticipating a good cast, especially with Patty Jenkins directing. I think it's going to be amazing. That does make a good segue to Warner Brothers, if we want to start talking Warner Brothers.
Yeah, because this is actually going to be probably the shortest of the talks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to skip right ahead and let's go to the CW because you pissed me off.
Yep.
Bye. I have decided I'm no longer watching CW shows. One, it's the same plot rehashed over and over and over again. I liked Supernatural for 11 of the umpteen million seasons that there was. But at the end, I wanted them all dead. Except for the guy who played the devil.
We never want that guy dead.
Oh, God, I can't think. Not Castiel. His evil version. I can't even think of it. He was just sexy enough to be interesting.
I never saw the show.
Yeah, that's why I stuck with it for so long. And when they wrote him off, I was like, I'm done.
You were like, yeah, whatever.
But they've made some decisions that have made me actually angry, like letter writing angry. The ending of Supergirl, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
For that one, it's starting to suffer every other CW syndrome where is the plot going to go? However, in the last season, I did think with the rebooted universe, which was badly executed but smart move,
Yeah.
There was Justice League elements coming together, and
There
not
was.
enough to make you think Justice League is going to happen, but enough to make the fanboy and you kind of, ooh, there's a moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I do think COVID really torpedoed a lot of their plans for that, which makes me sad.
the Flash is coming back, which
I don't understand why.
I enjoyed the Flash. I was the biggest proponent of it.
Yep.
Its first season was bad as it
Oh,
found
I
its
thought it
feet.
was so fun. It was so fun once upon a time.
It had no idea what it was doing that first season. And then
No.
Cisco kind of cemented his character, and I felt everyone else fell in line around him.
Yeah, yeah.
I live for every naming of a bad guy.
Yes, agreed.
Just, oh, new bad guy. What's Cisco going to call him this one? Like, so that was fun, but in the relationship, will they, won't they? They did. Why are we still questioning it? Like, they're together, but now they're on the rocks, but they're together, but they're on the rocks.
I don't understand why writers can't write a happy couple in a show. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard to write a happy relationship and still have tension in the show. I don't understand.
Then we get to Superman and whatever.
Superman and Lois, because we
actually
needed another Superman show.
So let's take a perfectly boring couple and make them as pristine and perfect as possible and somehow make people interested.
And throw in a baby. Don't forget the baby.
Oh, yeah, baby. I'm more interested to watch Crypto.
You hear that, Animal Planet? You need to make a Crypto show.
That would be more interesting. And let him talk, too, because
absolutely.
If you're going to go off the rails, let's go way off.
Yeah.
That show could burn a fiery death, and I wouldn't care. And
you know they're going to ride that dead cow all the way, like until it's bones, and then they're going to keep trying to ride it. That's one of those shows that they will not pull the plug on, no matter how badly it needs it. I'm convinced. And yet they canceled.
Oh, this is the one that made me mad. Black Lightning was the one show on the CW that hadn't lost a plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a family-oriented show. There's a spinoff. I forgot to tell you about this. So
Black Lightning, also unapologetically black, which I love.
And there were parts of it where I was like, I don't get some of these references. I'm not black. And it made me think about these things, which awesome. The show was doing what it was meant to do. The powers were interesting. The children dynamics were interesting. The mom got a little bit tedious in her drug haze, but she rebounded, and it's a family superhero show.
Yeah.
But let's cancel it, and let's make the boyfriend get a spin-off show.
Which I don't understand. I don't understand how you keep Flash going, which is anemic. It's an anemic show at this point. Please it should have been canceled a season ago. How do you cancel Black Lightning? And then how do you kind of sort of replace it with Superman and Lois?
But
I don't understand.
What's the boyfriend's name in Black Lightning? It's something Payne.
I don't remember.
Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
I can't believe he's getting a spinoff though. Weird.
Khalil Payne. He is getting a spinoff show, of which, did anyone like that character to begin with? He was
Yeah.
he was literally stripped a season ago, and he was made into a zombie. A zombie character is supposed to be interesting. Like, that's like giving one of the zombies on The Walking Dead a spinoff.
Who is our favorite zombie?
Yeah. Oh, but not the one you like. We're gonna pick the one that no one's ever talked about before.
Because no one likes them. He's the Chad zombie.
Oh my god. So I have no idea what they're doing. I get it, they need fresh blood, but they are really fishing in some weird places. And it really makes me think that CW, you're kind of out of touch with what made you so awesome to begin with.
Exactly. And everybody, I know that I'm blanking on her name, the woman that played Batwoman.
Ruby.
Ruby. Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose?
I feel bad. How can I not remember her name? I mean, it's widely accepted that the excuse of leaving because her back injury never quite healed is probably a load of BS. There are rumors that there were a lot of problems between her and the producers and the writers on the show. And not like her being a diva, just her asking for basics. When she got hurt, asking for more time off to heal, asking for safer working conditions, arguments about the way the representation was being done. I mean, just there's rumors of really just arguments, unhappiness. You couldn't keep her happy. You couldn't do the basics. You couldn't protect your actor on the set. Really? You couldn't do that?
And even then, Batwoman, I liked you. Your villain sucked so much that
I loved the villain.
It was like if the first episode of Gotham, which
I hated that show.
It was meh. Oh, Alfred is getting his own show apparently.
Oh, you mean the prequel? Okay.
I have no idea how it ties into anything, but
no, I do. I've seen some of it, and just like in one word, I can sum it up. Ew. Ew. Ew.
It would be like in Gotham, where 11-year-old Bruce Wayne meets 11-year-old Joker. Okay, you rushed to that final point pretty quick. The main storyline is about the sister. You find the sister. Sister turns out to be evil. Well, your character arc just ended. So are we going to spend the next 4 seasons of you brooding about your bad life choices?
Well, yeah, they didn't quite know how to handle that. I will grant you that.
And I like the villain. Just
not their handling of it.
Actually, they could have. This sounds pretty bad. They could have gotten rid of Batwoman and just spun the show onto her as the villain, and it would have still been a decent show.
That's an interesting take, but I wouldn't want to.
Literally, the Batwoman logo shows up and it just gets scratched out.
I do like that they have a woman of color taking the helm, who's also part of the LGBTQ community. I think she's bisexual, if I remember correctly. So that is good. I'm loving that. But I feel like I agree with you. I feel like the CW is limping along at this point.
Which is funny. And this is something, so Disney has Disney. They have a Marvel Comics app. They have the Disney Channel. Actually, they have like 12 channels.
They got all the channels.
Yeah, they got so many of them. But if you look at how they've structured it, the Disney Channel is mostly for tweens. The Disney XD channel is mostly for cartoon people, both older people and younger people with, different time slots. But there's a very specific demographic. What's the CW's demographic, and how is that different than the DC app or the HBO app?
Well, I mean, the CW had teens, it had adults. I mean, it had a decently wide demographic, but they've COVID really did shortchange them on a lot of their shows that were appealing to a wider audience, like Roswell, Nancy Drew, Riverdale. All of those really got either truncated seasons or they didn't even get a season this last time around. I think that really shot them in the ass, but I just feel like they're not pivoting smartly.
That's for their shows being much more getting this gritty vibe, and even Flash, it lost its whimsy. It's so gritty at this point.
I know, but Flash shouldn't be.
Yeah, he could just go get a bow and arrow and call himself the Arrow. You don't know who your target market is. Like, yeah. I used to watch The Flash, and my students and I could talk about it. Now, if I talked about The Flash, they'd be like, what? And none of them ever watched Supergirl. None of them ever watched The Arrow. I mean, there was a very small contingency of teen girls, but we're not going to talk about why.
We don't need to. It's very obvious.
Yeah. But now, who's that audience, and how is that different than...
I don't know.
And that's what doesn't make any sense to me. So they're rebooting, and they're stretching, and they're trying, and God, and I like Lois Lane as a character. I actually think she's more interesting than Superman. But if you want to get that younger audience back involved, you need a Superman show.
Well, actually, what you need, there's a trilogy of books by Gwenda Bond called Lois Lane. And they are Lois Lane as a teenager working at this scrappy little underground newspaper with some of her friends. And she's basically Nancy Drew, but she's Lois Lane. And she has a online kind of pen pal by the name of CC who lives in Kansas. And it's Clark Kent, and it's adorable because he's trying to hide his identity, but he also is really, they're falling in love with each other. The books
Superman meets You've Got Mail.
Kind of. That's the element. But Gwenda Bond, it's all about Lois Lane, and they are mysteries, and she's a teenager, and she gets into all kinds of trouble. If you want to have a show that would appeal to a good demographic, teenage girls and women my age, do a teenage Lois Lane series based on the series by Gwenda Bond. That's baked in, audience right there.
The girls in my class, Supernatural was still a big thing, obviously, because of their Dean's hair,
of course.
Sam's hair. There was a lot of talk of slash fic that I had to can that in my class. A lot of it. But we would talk about Nancy Drew, and they were kind of excited for the Hardy Boys because, they're teen girls and they want a young story, but they don't mind some attractive men. So
nothing wrong with that.
I think that there's potential in that, but
well, it's really sad, I feel like, because what made them edgy, what actually brought them success with the Arrowverse in particular, they have lost that edge. They had this hungry edge to them as a scrappy little network. They needed something. They took a chance on the Green Arrow, which everybody laughed about. Who the fuck wants a show about the Green Arrow? He's like Robin Hood. He's the poor man's Batman. And they made it work. And they spun off an entire universe based on that. And now they're just lazy.
And it definitely feels like, take a year off. You got a year off.
Seriously. Yeah.
And it's not like DC. It's not like that. This is Sony arguing for characters for the Venom movie. This is your own company. You have access to a pantheon of unused, underprivileged. So like I heard rumors that Martian Manhunter could be its own show.
Everybody wanted that. Everybody wanted Diggle as the Martian Manhunter.
No, they wanted Diggle as
Green Lantern. That's what
Green Lantern. And supposedly
he found the ring in the last episode of Arrow.
And supposedly he is the actor will be making a cameo in Green Lantern. but it's following a different Green Lantern apparently. So, but yeah, so Warner Brothers, I'm interested in your HBO-ness, but your CW-ness, meh, done.
Yeah, you're right. They should have taken this last year. That they were given a year off to like kind of regroup and refigure it out, and their choice was to cancel Black Lightning.
And they rebooted your universe. They opened the door for new potential. Instead,
all of it. Yeah.
We need another Superman. Another Superman who can't possibly have the budget to make a good Superman.
Yeah, we need another Superman like we need another Spider-Man movie. And I'm sorry, I know you're looking forward to it,
but it's not one Spider-Man. It's all the Spider-Men.
See, if this is true, then I'm on board. Because Into the Spider-Verse is like the best Spider-Man movie we've had in 10 years, at least. So if we could have a basically live action Into the Spider-Verse, I'm kind of all in. But if it's just another Spider-Man movie, pass.
So to wrap up DC, the big one coming up is Wonder Woman for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Which we're watching. We just are. Christmas night, we're watching it.
I might actually have to wait. My friend is visiting his family. How inconsiderate.
Just watch it twice.
I might. I just lie to him. Ooh, first time I'm seeing this.
It's kind of they got the Snyder cut. See, I blocked it out and it always comes right back. So the Snyder cut is probably going to be.
Don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
I will watch it because they will make me dinner when I go to their house. That's what it takes.
You're never going to get that 3.5 hours of your life back.
I'll be on Facebook. I'll live tweet the whole thing.
Just drink. Everything's better with drinks.
Make a Snyder cocktail where you constantly pour out half of it and put water in the rest. And then you explain that you took the other alcohol home.
Yeah, and you just forgot where you put it.
I will say I am on board for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
I am too. I'm on board for that one. That looks like so much fun.
I like it because it has the same gritty visual, but they're about to discover that you can have a fun movie.
Yeah. Look at that cast. Cast. Holy shit.
Birds of Prey was fun.
It was so fun. I watched it on election night because I just needed something not the election.
The actress who played Bertinelli, the Huntress.
The crossbow killer.
She was in Gemini Man, and how bad was she? So bad.
Oh, she's also in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
which is really a good movie. Yeah. No, I'm excited about Suicide Squad too because it just looks bonkers.
Yeah.
That movie looks completely bonkers, and the characters are just way out there, and I am here for it.
And I kind of just want to see how many times they make fun of the DC universe.
Me too. Absolutely.
I feel that James Gunn knows what people are unhappy about, and he's like, "Oh, taking you to town."
Yeah.
We're gonna Deadpool up this shit.
Yeah, they're gonna poke that bear. So I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984. Woohoo!
Time.
I know, fuck. That is one. You know, we were talking before the show about how it's very anticlimactic, the thought of watching Black Widow. I do not feel the same way about Wonder Woman 1984. I don't.
I feel the same way. It just I've picked apart the plot at this point based on trailers. I've seen all the cool visuals. I will be excited when I'm watching it, but to it, it's like, meh.
I'm counting the days. I really am. I'm so excited.
And that perfect segue into the next one.
It is.
Marvel
is the big beast of this, though. I mean, and we actually saved it for last, probably at our peril because we're like over an hour. So guys, it's the super stuffed end of the year episode. You guys can deal with it.
Yeah. So Black Widow is supposed to be released every other day for like the last year. Who knows? 2020 has lasted 20 years. It's another one of those. One, it's a prequel movie, so whatever.
Yeah.
But it launches the next phase of Marvel. So the rest of Marvel is like, we got nothing but time until this movie comes out. So
well, it shows the slate is fucking huge.
And whatever the reveal is in Black Widow, if it is not off the walls crazy, I'm going to be mad. Why didn't you just release it on Disney Plus?
Yeah, agreed.
Because
they should have done that.
Yeah, I would have paid Mulan money to watch it and just be done with it.
So the question I have, and I looked at a couple of articles, I couldn't find the answer to this question. Are they planning theatrical releases for these, or are they doing streaming releases? Because I don't think there's going to be any theaters open.
As of right now, it looks like they are slating theatrical releases.
That is a mistake.
Which, I mean, let's be quite honest, I'm not going to. No. I don't care about the Marvel movie. There is nothing that can possibly get me there. If David Harbour, shirtless, cannot get me into a movie theater, nothing will.
Yeah, it's the truth. That is the truth.
I literally Stranger Things, it's all I'm waiting for. Stranger Things, I can get more shirtless David Harbour.
What they need to do is they need to do a release on streaming, and then if the theaters are open, then release it simultaneously in the theaters. But I don't understand what they are thinking with this, because usually Marvel is pretty smart business-wise, and planning these as theatrical releases is dumb as fuck.
So I think part of the delay for this was because everything else got delayed. So there was no point in rushing this, because then there would have been a gap after the fact. I think I think they're using the snowball method. This is going to kick it off, and then it's just going to be bigger.
Well, and it is. Have you seen that schedule? It's like every month there's a new movie.
So, but Black Widow, it's another movie where I like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
I think she was my Black Widow. Like, when I saw her, she was everything I had always thought of in the comic. Now I'm like, okay, I'll see it. Better be lots of David Harbour.
My thing is, we wanted a solo Black Widow movie. Fans clamored for it. Women in particular were like, we really want it. And they're like, okay, we'll give it to you after we've killed her off. Gee, thanks. It feels like such a backhanded thing to do to fans, I'll be honest. Because I've never been excited about this movie after they killed her off in Endgame. I was like, what's the point? You're gonna show me what the potential was for this character, but you've kneecapped all of the excitement for me for that. So I'm not gonna see it in the theater.
Maybe they'll reboot it.
Well, that actually is an interesting segue to the Loki teaser trailer for that show shows Scarlett Johansson. It shows Black Widow under a purple sky on an alien planet. So the query is she trapped in the Soul Stone? Is that what we are seeing in the Loki teaser trailer? Nobody knows.
I just say, out of everything that Marvel is doing, we've known that Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Loki is probably the one that I'm like, why?
Fan favorite.
It has nothing to do with Loki whatsoever. Could not care less. Why don't you just hire Tom Hiddleston to read the newspaper, and we'll pay for it?
Exactly. Well, but I will say I wasn't excited until I saw the teaser. And now I'm more excited. I'm not like, oh my God, balls to the walls excited like I am for Ms. Marvel or WandaVision, but I am really curious because it looks like this weird cross between like he's a secret agent. Like he's almost like a Suicide Squad agent, but he's not, but he is. And then he's going to Asgard, but it's not Asgard. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this show?
The only thing that I think I'm actually excited for is that they're bringing Sylph back.
Oh, yes.
Who magically appears in an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and never saw again.
Yeah.
Like,
she's like Richie's older brother on Happy Days. Where did that character go?
And I think she was pregnant during I think there was a schedule conflict that caused that problem.
That would make sense.
But she would have only been a background character anyway, so yeah. I get it. So that is what I'm like, oh, that. And Idris Elba. No, not Idris Elba. Thinking of a completely different character.
Heimdall?
Yeah, Heimdall.
That's Idris Elba.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm thinking of the dude from Guardians.
Oh.
I'm getting the actors backwards. No, you're...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the one who's also the wizard in Shazam. This poor guy. He comes so close, and he can't break through.
No,
and
but
he's awesome.
I'm looking for, because there were a lot of good characters in Thor that I'm hoping that they bring them back.
Yeah, and I think that they probably will. They need to fill in the ranks, but I'm not quite sure what the show is about. I'm really not. And that makes me curious enough to at least watch the first episode and find out what is going on.
So, and this is going to be the ongoing problem for all of these. And this is something that I'll talk about more in depth. But there's so many cameos now that I have literally watched every Marvel thing that has been produced, period. Yeah. Everything. I am one of a rare section of geek that can tell you every actor or actress that will or will not show up. It's much like those Star Wars fans who are like, that alien in the background on the far right, that's the grandfather of, so like, how would you know that? I know that for Marvel. And I'm already at a point where I'm like, why don't you just make a show called The Cameo Show starring Marvel and just have people walk out onto stage? Because
have it called The Extras. It's The Extras Show.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like that. And at some point you're wondering, how much are you bending the plot to force characters in the cameos? And some of them fall naturally. Some of them you're like, what? This was not necessary. Like, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see Peggy Carter show up in at least 5 different shows or movies.
Peggy, why couldn't they just keep her show going? Anyway,
yeah.
I could talk about that all day. So the Eternal. So going back to the movies really quick, I just actually want to run down some of the movies, some of the movies that are supposed to come out. We have Black Widow on May 7th, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, July 9th.
So not interested in this one because
I'm curious, but I won't go to the theater to see any of these, no matter how curious I am.
It's a little too close to Iron Fist, and that left a sour taste.
Yeah, but this at least is Asian-led, Asian-directed, Asian-produced. Like, I can get behind that. The Eternals on November 5th. And I know absolutely nothing about this group of heroes, but I will see it because of several reasons. 1, female director. 2, Salma Hayek is the leader of the group, which I just love that it's a woman of color as the leader of the group. And the cast is incredibly diverse. It's a very diverse cast.
I think this one is the one out of left field for Marvel.
Yeah.
Did you go into the back storeroom where all the bad plots were left and find this on the floor? Because that's what it took to find this storyline.
I I have no idea why they're pulling it out. I know nothing about these characters unless it has something to do with their next phase big overarching villain.
It does 100%. It will tie into Miss Marvel 100%.
So I mean, and Miss Marvel is supposed to come out in 2022, or Captain Marvel is supposed to come out in 2022, and is supposed to focus more on space kind of stuff, or with her time with the Space Jammers. So I'm guessing they're going to tie it in, but and then Spider-Man 3, December the 3rd.
So Spider-Man's the one I'm most excited about because it is such the weirdest cast. So
Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange in it.
Yeah, so Spider-Man 3 is a direct tie-in to Doctor Strange and the multiverse madness.
Yeah, I'm so not interested in his movie.
I
don't care.
Interested because of who the villains could be. I don't entirely know right now. But I'm interested because Wanda's in it. The Scarlet Witch will be in it as the co-star.
But this is you go circling back around to looping in characters.
So Spider-Man 3 currently has Tobey Maguire.
What?
The other dude, Andrew Garfield. It has
Jamie Foxx is coming back and reprising his villain role.
Who was the original Mary Jane?
Oh my God, Kirsten Dunst.
She'll be there. Doc Ock is going to be there.
Oh, Alfred Molina
is the only reason we liked the original Spider-Mans. I'm sorry, only reason. Doc Ock.
Wonderful.
And it will have Benedict Cumberbatch in it, which is a direct dumping of the Spider-Verse.
That's really the only explanation for this cast.
Yeah, it's the only way. Now, here's where it gets way interesting, and this is what I'm actually excited for. The Venom movie should not have been decent. I wanted to hate every moment of it.
Is Venom coming into this?
No.
Okay.
The Spider-Man from the Venom universe is Andrew Garfield, who will be crossing over, which then means he can go back to Venom. Venom becomes part of the MCU, not the MCU universe. See how bad it's getting?
Oh my God.
But means that now Sony can expand on the Spider-Man, can have Spider-Man expand on the Spider-Man universe, and it fits. The war between Sony and Marvel will finally make sense.
This is fucking exhausting.
So, and this is what we were talking about before. The level of, you didn't know that this was going to happen. I have been watching the Sony and Marvel argument since it started. I have understood the war between these studios. I have understood the whole multiverse crap. I understood when Spider-Man Multiverse came out. I understand the whole Doctor Strange in the multiverse. I know that Earth 616 is a big thing. I know that Venom takes place on Earth 712 or something.
Why do you know this?
I've read every one of these comics. This is why I do not give Star Wars fans a hard time.
Dear God.
But you, the average fan, are you going to go watch Venom 2 because of this nifty little thing that only the super geeks know? No. You're going to be like, Venom 1 shouldn't have made it. Why are we doing Venom 2? Yeah. So I think we're going to get into a spot where so in the 90s in Marvel Comics, the problem was if you had a crossover series, so Secret Invasion is a perfect example. Secret Invasion was 100 comics that included the Avengers, Fantastic Four. It included the Starjammers. It included the X-Men. It included every team that you don't know anything about. So now to get that full story, instead of reading the X-Men comic that you enjoy, now to understand the plot, you have to go read 100 other comics.
From characters and teams that you might not enjoy and might not understand their continuity.
Yeah. Welcome to Marvel Studio Phase, whatever the hell we're on.
It's Phase 4, and yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. And it's, honestly, they got these big accolades for doing what nobody had done before. 23 movies, interconnected, blah, blah, blah. And so now Kevin Feige has got, the big producer head, and he wants to keep that, accolade shiny. And so they're trying to keep that going, and it's too much. As a fan, I don't need that to enjoy a movie. Captain Marvel barely fit into or contributed to that big overarching thing, and I loved it. And honestly, I liked it because I needed a break from how does this add up?
If you had taken Samuel L. Jackson's character out, it would have been a complete standalone movie.
It would have.
It just needed that one tie-in moment.
Yeah. And it still, to me, felt like a standalone. Like, you can watch that and not any other Marvel movie, and you'll understand what's going on.
And then we're starting to get some problems here, because what they are leading up to is Secret Invasion. That's the crossover. It's about to happen. Yep. I'm here for it. Now, before we can get to Secret Invasion, which will probably be in 2042, we need to introduce the X-Men, which we're about to do, because WandaVision is actually a plot line taken from X-Men.
Fucking hell.
Wanda goes batshit crazy, and she declares no more mutants. Well, the thought is it's going to be spun, and she's created this reality, and she is going to create mutants. Awesome. It fits in.
Okay. Yeah, because the other one, she basically committed genocide.
Yeah, which...
That's a problem.
We kind of don't like her for that.
Yeah.
We forgave her for some reason. I don't know why. So, okay, WandaVision is still a little... Mm-hmm. It's twisting the plot, but that's fine. We're okay with that. And fans who want accuracy, go read a damn comic book.
So, wow.
So here's the other theory, is that mutants have been around all this time, but they've been in hiding.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
In the Ultimate storyline, Wolverine is the original super soldier. His blood is what made the serum that Tony Stark's dad gave to Captain America.
Wow.
So that is the other point that could be tied in, that Tony Stark's dad did not make the serum. It's actually Wolverine, and mutants have been around all this time, but they've been in hiding. Also could work. So either way, that could work. But along with Secret Invasion, there's the other major player is Fantastic Four. All right. So they've announced Fantastic Four is being made.
Really? They have?
Yep.
It's like Spider-Man. We don't fucking need it. Honestly, I know everybody was like, Spider-Man is instrumental to Endgame. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. I did not see how we needed Spider-Man in either one of those movies.
We needed Spider-Man 2 because it was the epilogue of Phase 3. I liked it for the emotional reference.
But I'm saying, like, Spider-Man as a whole, everybody's like, you have to have him for the last two movies. No, you didn't. You didn't need him. He's dust for most of the second one.
I mean, he was worth it for the meme. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. So we already know that Doctor Doom is coming in as a bad guy in some movie. We don't quite know what. There's a lot of theories.
Jesus.
Yeah, so see how this 1990s comic explosion of tie-in. So let's say you're a Captain Marvel fan. Well, now we're getting to a point where Captain Marvel in the next movie is most likely going to have some sort of tie-in to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, but now you got to go watch it.
Yeah.
And this interwovenness was fine when it was Iron Man,
Thor.
God.
Captain America.
And Captain America. That's it. Those were the three. And
Mm-hmm.
the Hulk movies that will never be discussed again.
We never mentioned the Hulk movies. It did not happen.
I really liked the first one because it looked like a comic book. The rest of that's the only thing I can say nice about it.
Yeah, Edward Norton as Bruce Banner did not float my boat in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, God, it was so bad. So you had those three movies that were interconnected. Okay, I can handle 6 hours of my life.
Yeah.
They kept going. And it would be different if it was a one-off movie. Captain Marvel, here's your one movie, you're done. This is how it'll tie into the bigger picture. But now someone was saying like it's like to watch all the Marvel movies now takes a month.
Yeah.
And by the time
and in true fan form, there is contested watch order.
Oh yeah, versus chronological versus timeline versus release.
Yeah.
But by the time Phase 4 comes out, you're going to have to watch all of those. You're going to have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, okay, they kind of did a good job of keeping it out for the most part.
Yeah, I'm not watching Agents of
But now you're going to have to watch Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki. I'm sure.
Are they tying the shows in?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Because you can't tell me that Captain America in some iteration is not going to show up again.
Well, and the Ms. Marvel show, Ms. Marvel the character is showing up in Captain Marvel too.
Yep.
So, and in some ways I'm like, yay, because in the Ms. Marvel comics that was a huge fucking deal for her to meet Carol Danvers. So I'm really excited as a comic fan to see that interaction. But like you've been talking about, I'm a comic fan of Ms. Marvel and Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. So I get why that's kind of cool. If I wasn't, I'd be like, nah, whatever. It's just,
and I think that, and this is the same thing I think Star Wars is going to have an issue with. Me, the casual fan of Star Wars, I don't care. Yeah. Is it a good show? Does it have cool characters? Sure, I'm along for the ride. But I don't care about the cameos that are popping up. Like, I don't get them. So,
like Katie Sackhoff's. If I hadn't watched Star Wars Rebels, I would not understand. And if I hadn't also watched the end of the Clone Wars, I wouldn't have understand why it was so fucking cool that Katie Sackhoff shows up in Mandalorian armor. I get it because I've invested that time. So I agree with you. Like, the interconnectedness is going to get unwieldy for fans and creators, I think.
And for people like comic book fans, it doesn't matter. You already have our money, so that's fine. But we're not the majority. People now are Captain America fans because they grew up on the movies. It's been 11 years. Some of these people were children when it first came out.
Yeah.
And by dragging that out into this web, it's starting to get a little convoluted. I'm connecting it right now to I'm reading Sword of X in the X-Men. There are 6 X-Men comics right now, and I read them all. Oh, but wait. For Sword of X, we're going to add in 4 more that I don't care about these characters. Why do they get their own comic? So now I'm stuck reading those. So I do feel that we're about to hit maximum saturation.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I'm always sad to see that happen. I'm also very sad when it's becoming obvious, and I feel like the people in charge don't care. They're going to drive this cash cow into the ground, and they don't care what it does to the product. And that makes me really sad.
And they spent 10 years building up to, that was a 10-year climax coming. Whereas Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't care.
I actually didn't before. Again, I saw the teaser trailer, and the chemistry is great between these characters. And the first line in the teaser trailer is Anthony Mackie saying that shield has a lot of problematic history around it. And I'm so glad that they have Falcon as a black man acknowledging the problems of a symbol of American patriotism. Like, to me, that set the tone for what the show could be, and I'm really interested to see how they handle that.
And for me, I kind of split the shows up based on genre. So Falcon and Winter Soldier is a buddy action. Don't care.
Yeah.
WandaVision
it's Tango and Cash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. It so is.
Yeah.
With a shield.
With a shield.
WandaVision is kind of a weird throwback sci-fi, like a quirky sci-fi show.
Yeah.
So I'm always here for quirky sci-fi. Loki, I
have no idea what it is.
Just to see, but what if? So here's my issue with what if. What if has some amazing storylines that they cannot do because it doesn't fit into the Marvel continuity of the MCU.
Well, that sucks ass.
So almost every one of the episodes that they showed in the trailer are just body swaps.
Yeah, it's a good point. But I'm here for Captain Britain. I really am. I'm here for Peggy Carter. That'll probably be the only one I watch, to be honest with you.
I just want Marvel Zombies. That's it.
Yeah. So What If will be interesting. My kids are really excited to see that one. So therefore, I'm kind of excited to see that one.
And I do like the fact that other than the zombie episode, it does feel like the age group for that is brought down a little bit.
Yeah.
And because it's a what if, it doesn't have to fit into continuity. It's just using characters that we've seen referenced before.
Exactly.
And that I'm okay with. But,
yeah, that feels light and fun, and okay, let's do that,
And then Hawkeye, if it focuses on Jeremy Renner, I don't care.
I would be much happier with this, since it's supposed to really center around Kate Bishop. I'd be much happier with this if Clint had died in Endgame. And I will say it forever. Clint, you should have died. It should have been you.
And my question is, what the hell is this movie? Or what the hell is this show? Or I don't even know.
He's passing the mantle on to Kate Bishop. Why do we need a whole show about that?
Is it an action? Is it I can't. We're not going to create a genre called archery shows. The Arrow tried. It's over. You can only have so many people fighting crime with bows and arrows.
It makes no narrative sense.
So I just
yeah. And then there's Ms. Marvel. Yeah. There's Ms. Marvel I will watch. Ms. Marvel I will love and enjoy. And they have they have the right team behind that show. I'm excited to see what they do with it. The casting is perfect. That's one that my girls and I are very excited to see.
But I've been for the last 6 months, I've been really hunting out superhero shows that aren't superheroes. Mm-hmm. I've watched some great things that introduce Greek gods as mankind. I've watched the parents of children cope with their children having powers. I've watched generational families cope with having powers. There's been all of these really cool indie films, and Marvel is a very narrow version of superhero, which I enjoy. It's my bread and butter. But
it's getting stale.
It can't just always be the second Captain America was an espionage film. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a space romp with humor. I'm down.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was a heist film. So
which was really fun, yeah.
If you keep bringing in these genres, I think people will be okay because they'll be different. Mm-hmm. But if it just goes, how can we get this to force our way into Secret Invasion?
It's going to be ham-fisted. It's going to be obvious. It's going to be awkward. And that was the one thing I will say that for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, they were able to avoid that the first 10 years. they were able to avoid the obvious, ooh, that was painful, and the only reason you did it was for this one thing. Like Civil War, I think, is probably the most blatant example of that, their biggest misstep, in my opinion. But if that's the only one, that's a pretty damn good track record. Now, I agree with you. Now it feels like they're pushing it. And I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off this time without having a huge misstep. Kind of like the Eternals. I don't understand why they made that movie. I'm kind of here for it because it's weirdos in space. It looks a little different, so okay, but
I'm excited for WandaVision. I like those characters. I like those actors. But if it's only there to serve another purpose, I'm going to be annoyed that you basically just showed me an 8-hour trailer.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, I mean, we've seen Loki how many times now? How long has Tom Hiddleston played this character? Why couldn't we get a TV series with a lesser-known superhero? That's the other thing I would say is they're retreading all of these characters, and they're trying to put a fresh spin on it, which I do appreciate, but there does come a point where it's like, I don't need to see Loki anymore. I'd like to see some of these other characters that we don't really know a lot about, like America Chavez. Let's have an America Chavez Squirrel Girl show. Let's do something like that, which is just way bonkers, way out there. It's fun.
And that is what I do kind of like about WandaVision out of those 3 shows, is those are the characters we've seen, her in particular, we've seen explored the least.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're on the cusp for me because they were very prominent, but I still feel that there is more story for me to hear about, more character for me to see.
Yeah.
Loki, are you going to have a character arc, or are you just going to be Loki?
I think from the teaser, I honestly think there's no arc. And that also frustrates me because I felt like Loki had this really beautiful arc in the movies. I don't think they should have killed him off, honestly. But if you're going to bring him, but
he was a Skrull, actually. They're going to bring everyone back because all the people who died were Skrulls. That's what it's going to happen.
If you can't wave that shit away, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. But my point is, I think they are just going to keep him bad boy trickster Loki, and I'm not here for that. I don't know. If that's the way that they want to do it, fine, but I'm probably not going to watch it.
So I think for question of the week, a couple.
Okay.
One, what geek show, movie, enterprise, I don't know, are you looking forward to in the upcoming year? My follow-up is, are you feeling fatigued from the franchises?
Yes.
Marvel
those are good questions. Yeah. No, let's do that. That's our question of the week. All right.
And we will see you for season 2 of Geekorama next year.
I know. If you're listening to this, I think it's Christmas Eve. So if you celebrate Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Hanukkah is over, but I hope it was happy. Not sure when Kwanzaa is, but have a very happy Kwanzaa if you celebrate Kwanzaa. I don't remember the dates.
Isn't it? It's a couple days after Christmas, I think.
Is it? Okay. So
there's a whole lot of holidays happening right now.
Yeah. Whatever your holiday that you celebrate in December, I hope it's happy and merry and wonderful. And
good riddance 2020.
Good riddance. Thank God. Thank you for listening to the Geekorama this year. We have loved having you as our fans. You can head on over to the Superhero Fiction Facebook page to answer the question, or superherofiction.com. Look up the episode and leave us a comment.
And you'll see us in the start of 2021.
Bye, everybody.
To stay up to date with the Geekorama podcast, you can watch our videos on YouTube or subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a review or hit the thumbs up button. New episodes are released on Thursdays for podcast listeners and YouTube fans.